Okay guys, so we are going to talk about scaling your ads with UGC in Q4. And to start, at first, I just want to give you a quick intro to the main benefits. For me, the main benefits of UGC, which you can use to introduce your performance in your ads massively. And I also brought you some examples for each point. And let's jump into the first one. And I will give you a quick example why this example works pretty well in our ads. So, actually there should be. Okay, it's completely cut it because I just wanted to show one quick takeaway for you. The first one is as I print down here, the feels and looks native aspect, and you can see we used a question mark sticker, a question sticker, no question mark, question sticker, where we just have it normally in our Instagram stories, for example. And this hook helps us to keep our audience be attached to our ad because they think it's a normal story. And as well, the typical filters and so on, as you can see here, and the brand is linked, so you think it's a completely normal Instagram story, and you just keep watching. It's one example for the aspect feels and looks native. The second one, the objection handling. Just let's play the video, and I will give you a quick intro why this works as well.
Wie oft musste ich schon Knetreste aus Klamotten holen, die die Farbe von meinen hellen Möbeln entfernen. Aber das hat mit Knethelm jetzt endlich ein Ende.
Okay, so as you can see, the aspect objection handling. It's also a very great benefit of UGC because you are able to show different scenes where you do something that people might think in their head. And the first thing is, for example, the does not stick and stain. It's a dough which everyone knows from their childhood. When you play with the dough on the table and so on, it keeps staying still on the table, and it's not clean anymore. And this is something we can show in the video that this one does not stick and stain. It's a real benefit. Just to give you a quick example as well. The last one, and then we go into the main topics.
Portionierung sind ja riesigen Beutel und die kann man einfach wieder verschließen. So kann man sich dieses blöde Austrocknen einmal voll sparen. Ja, also das ist echt eine richtig coole Sache mit der Kleberste. Yeah.
Okay, so it's obvious the child is smiling and feels very comfortable with this play. And also the creator is responding, it's a good product and so on. And this gives us the real benefit of emotions, which are easier to transfer in this kind of situation. So let's jump into the structure of UGC. And first of all, there's the pattern interrupt, the hook of your ad to keep your audience stop scrolling and just have a look at your ads. And I also brought here 3 simple examples, which are just 3 seconds. Let's have a look at them, and I will just give you one aspect why they also work pretty well. So first one. Okay, second one. Okay, I hope you can hear it. And the third one. Okay, just to give you one aspect of these hooks, the first one. Who of you knows the dude with a sign? Yes, Patrick as well. And of course, this guy is holding a sign and everyone is looking at it. And we adapted it for this ad because the person is holding a sign in their hand, and then they open it and we get into the situation. And this was a very good hook to keep our audience in this video and watch the whole thing and even buy in the store later. So second one, the problem presentation. There's one very important point. Please keep your awareness levels in mind. So the first one is the problem awareness. These are people who are searching for a solution for their problem, but they don't know that there is a solution. So they search, get an ad, and they see, oh, they are presenting my problem, and then you present the solution for it. And the second one is the solution awareness. These are people who are in awareness that there is a solution, and those people need more things like, for example, aspects why we are better than other competitors, for example. And please keep that in mind when you create your ads, because you can also go in completely different audiences and create different ads for them and increase your completely target group on the whole platform. So the third one is the solution presentation, also including the objection handling. So aspects like, does it taste good? How does it look worn, for example, or what is the innovation of it? So when you present your solution, your product, you can keep these aspects in mind. What are the points why someone would not buy it? For example, when you have a drink, when it does not taste good, nobody will buy it. When you have a creator, for example, who drinks it, and you see, okay, it tastes good, the person did it for me, of course, I will try it as well. The fourth step is social proof. I think this one is something pretty obvious. When you have many people who write a review and so on, you can bring it also in your ad and make it more social proof as well. And at least the irresistible offer. For example, 2-in-1, 2-for-1 bundles, or free gift from, for example, €50 AOV or something like that. So overall, I want to say the iteration. So the iteration of your ads is the key to success for UGC. So you can have a look at your hooks, you have a look at the awareness levels, and also the database pattern recognition. And I will explain those aspects step by step now. The first one is a test structure, how you could go for your performing or creating your own ads. And the first one is, as I explained, those 2 awareness levels, which you can adjust, think in your mind, what are our customers and what are these aspects we have to play in our UGC. Then you can create 5 different ads for each target group. And then you test and test over again. And when you didn't find your winning ad, you have to test over and over again. But when you have found your winning ad, then create 5 different hooks, for example, and see if the creative, which was working, is still increasing when we do different hooks and get our audience more attached. Okay, and also that's very, very important part. When you have a winning creative and you have tested different hooks, you can also check your whole setup. When you have different USPs, you could also go in and say, okay, the way I present our problem or solution, we can just change it. Or when you have different USPs, you can put your 5th USP, for example, and put it at the first point and see whether it's improving even more. And yeah, these are some parameters. I won't explain everything, but just one thing about the hooks. When you have a hook, please look at that you have at least a hook between 25 to 30%. Even more is also good, but when you have a hook which is 40+%, please check what is the context of the hook represented in this ad. Because when it's something, a silly situation or something which is just getting attention but has nothing to do with your product as well, so people will just keep watching, but not because of your product. And that's important about the context. If you want to take a picture about this slide, please take it now. I removed the slide in 4, 3, 2, okay. So overall, I just want to, I want to say what we need is a UGC flywheel, something we have to do over and over again. You do create your ads, you do test them, you have the evaluation of it, and then you have to improve it over and over again. And it never has to stop. When you have found your winning creatives, you have to have a campaign where you test more creatives. So every creative will burn out at some point, and then you have something new you can put in your scaling campaign and do the scaling work. Yeah, so the last one, this is actually the roadmap, a conclusion for, of all these aspects. Please keep that in mind. And yeah, first of all, really understand your customers. So please understand what are the psychology aspects why someone should buy our product, and go deep, very, very deep into the audience, and then you can create really USPs of it. Then keep the awareness levels in mind. I explained that. Prepare 5+ different ad types. Prepare 5+ hooks, and keep the rest as simple as possible. For example, when you're an e-commerce business owner and you don't have a huge team or working with an agency, you have to focus on one thing. The biggest aspect to scale your campaigns is the creative. And when you focus on the creative, you are really able to go on another level. But focus on that, and then you can go, Markus will explain it in the next couple of minutes, for the more advanced aspects in the media buying as well. And because I love the mastermind, I do have a special offer for those who want to scale in Q4 for the upcoming events. I do have the offer that everyone who wants to go into the UGC creative stuff, just hit me up. You can just text me, or let's talk here, and then we can go for example, for one free creative for you. You can test it and use it as it is yours. Thank you.
Good shit, amazing, man. Good one. Great. All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. Amazing content so far. So what we're talking about now is we have the winning creative, and now we're talking about how do we get the most out of this winning creative to scale to the moon and back. So, and of course, while breaking Meta's rules, we'll talk about that in a second. So we all want this. We all want those high scaling case studies where we ramp up budgets like crazy and we double, triple, 10x budgets within a couple of days. But the question is, how do we get there? Disclaimer, before we talk about hyperscaling, this is really about, a setup that is already proven. So there's no way to talk about hyperscaling if you don't have a winning creative, or in best case, multiple winning creatives, a scalable funnel where you know exactly what you put in and what's coming out, and also clear target KPIs. Because you need to know at every point of the journey, are you winning or are you losing? For that, you need to know your target KPIs. Okay, so just as a disclaimer, before we don't even touch the topic of hyperscaling. All right, Markus, short backstory about me. This is my childhood bedroom. I was selling postcards and thinking I'm going to be rich with this. Failed, but learned a lot. And then next step was basically scaling accounts, learning a lot again. And now everything is about setting up a team and doing the same thing for multiple businesses, basically. So 3 sizzling hot takes to hyperscale your brand in Q4. Hot take number 1. 7-day click and 1-day view is for amateurs. This might be your reaction now. And we're going to talk about this. So the thing is, we test different creatives as we see them right now. So this is something that is, that most of you do and most of us do, but why not test different campaign setups? We have multiple properties that we have access to, that Meta gives us, that we barely use most of the times. But there's another room to grow there and to squeeze out even more from our advertising budget. So this is what I'm talking about. We have different campaign types, CBO, ABO. We have different attribution windows, 1-day click, 7-day click, optimization goals, conversions and values. You might see that we don't have the view there. We don't have any view attribution windows there, just because we see that we get higher quality traffic without the views. So we get like a very, how do you say, it's a very biased result that we get in the Ads Manager once we include the views. So what can we do out of it? We can basically mix and match all of them, and this is what comes out. So just from mixing and matching those parameters, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different campaign setups that we can test for our winning creatives to see which one is actually working best in this account for this creative. So what we usually start with is the CBO 1-day click value and the ABO 7-day click conversions, just to test on both ends of the spectrum basically. And just to give you an insight how this can turn out. This is a test, and for context, exact same creatives, exact same copy, nothing is changed. We only change those parameters. So the first one is a CBO 1-day click value optimization. The second one is an ABO 7-day click conversions optimization. So when you look at this, first of all, this is triple whale, but it doesn't matter, like as long as you have an external tracking. You can see here, this is the external return on ad spend that's tracked. This is what Facebook tracks. And this is very interesting, this metric. This is the new customer return on ad spend. Because what we're focusing on is we want to acquire new customers. So we need to have the view of how many, what are the actual new customers bringing in as a return on ad spend. So in this case, you can see we're almost double in new customer return on ad spend on the setup above with the exact same creatives. And this is just one example, but just to show you, there's a huge leverage in testing different campaign setups for your winning creatives. And this might be the difference between scaling like crazy and doing okay. Okay? Hot take number 2. Increase budgets by 200 to 300% every 2 hours, not 20 to 30% every 2 days. And yes, fuck the learning phase. What are you talking about, Marcus? Well, the question is, what do we want to do in hyperscaling? We want to go from 200 euros to 30K in a couple of days. Especially for Q4, this is extremely relevant because you might only have a short window of 10 to 14 days for your product to be relevant in the market. So you have to squeeze out as much as possible in this time. So, let's say the conservative approach would be, okay, we step by step increase the budget. You can do this, but then the time is running out. The 14 days are going to be over, and nobody's going to be, wanting your product anymore. So what do? Just for example, as an example, this is what I mean by, scaling up like crazy. This means doubling, tripling the budget in a day. And the reality is, there is no way you can do this while respecting the learning phase. It's not possible. So we have to break it. The good thing is, it works. It still works. So here is just like one example of one day, one campaign that I picked out where we do this. So here you can see it's the log. You can check it in your ads manager, also like to control your media buyers if you want to, what they're actually doing with your budgets. No, but you can see here we started with a budget of 200 euros a day. Then we saw early on, okay, this is working great because we know our target KPIs. So we saw, let's just, just to make it simple, we have a target return on ad spend of 2, and we had a return on ad spend of 7 during this time. So we said, okay, let's triple the budget and let's see what's going to happen. Then 3 hours later, we see, okay, it's performing like crazy still. Maybe we have a 5, return on ad spend of 5. So let's triple the budgets again, see what happens. Same thing, 1 hour later, still performing like crazy and more than doubling the budget again. 1 hour later, still performing like crazy, double the budgets again. And then in the end, we scale down a little bit. But this is the way you can pump up the budgets intraday. But the important thing is you have to know your numbers. If you don't know your numbers, this is very risky. But just to show you, this is still working. but not while respecting the learning phase. So we broke the learning phase 5 times here. Still, it still works. Okay. All right. Then here are some simple scaling rules you can apply. I'm not going to go into detail now, but the important thing is that you have to check your micro and macro metrics. So you have to know what is your target KPI, let's say your target CPA. You have to know that, and as well, of course, your macro metrics, so the profit goals and stuff like that. You can take a picture if you want to. Okay, let's go to the next hot take. You're one burnt out creative away from going back to 0, which means once your creative that is winning and that you're scaling like crazy is burning out, it's over. You have to start from 0 again. Yeah, that will be your face, maybe, if it happens. So as advertisers, and I always come back to this, we are basically investors. So what we have to do is we have to hedge against the risk that our most important assets are going down, and we're losing our most important asset. And our most important asset is our creative. In this case, our winning creative. So what can we do? What is the easiest way to hedge against the risk that we lose our most important asset, which is fatal in a scaling phase when you're pumping budgets and you see all of a sudden, okay, CTR is dropping like crazy, CPAs are skyrocketing, I have to scale down. So what are your ideas? What can we do? Any ideas? Yeah.
Creative pipeline.
Creative pipeline. Okay, what do you put into the creative pipeline?
It's like exactly the same thing we had before. You have a cycle where you just add different hooks, like 10 to 15 or more, and you just bounce back the learnings and create again, always on creating process. Perfect. Perfect answer. That's exactly what you do. And so it's same but different. It's the same thing. You know that it's working. Just give the algorithm slight variations of the same thing. Because what I see a lot of times is when people have something that's working, they're doing something else. Maybe this will work too. No. Stay with what is working and then iterate on that. Because a slight variation might have a huge impact either in performance spike, so you can scale even more, or you just have this as a hedge. It performs the same way, basically, and you can then change it once the one creative is burning out. So this is just one example from one of our clients, where you can see this is the original creative, and then what do we do? It's an image creative. We just change the frames. We put a little bit here, some little elements, and that's it. It's simple work, but if you think from a perspective of an agency owner or an e-commerce brand, you have the highest ROI in this versus doing new creatives. Okay? Good. So you extend your scaling phases, and your winning creatives last longer. Next thing, another same but different. We have our winning creative already. We tried it in different campaign setups. What else can we do with it? What are other possibilities to basically reach our target audience in the auction? Simple. Cost cap, bid cap campaigns, min return on ad spend campaigns. Those are campaign types that might not be talked about too much, and they might not have the scaling power, yet you have like lower budgets but very high profitability most of the times. So this is another example where it's 2-3 clicks in the ads manager, but you can save an extra 10% of profit or something like that. Exactly. So you might feel like this now. What was all of this? Let's summarize this a little bit. First thing that you could take away is find the winning scaling setup for your winning creatives. So you have your winning creatives, find the right scaling setup. So here are just a couple of variations, as I told you. You don't have to test all of them because this is a lot of budget. If you have the budget, go for it. But the most common ones I would recommend: CBO 1-day click value and ABO 7-day click conversions. Then
increase the budgets aggressively. Don't be hesitant, especially when you have great return on ad spends, super low CPAs. Try to capitalize on that, because what we also see in a lot of accounts is not every day is the same, and you might notice. One day you look into the ads manager and it's looking great, or in your tracking tool. The other day it's looking not so great. And it's important for us to capitalize on great days and then maybe scale down on days that are not so good. Okay, so when you look at the overall picture, you have a better result over a month, let's say, than if you just hold the steady budget. Okay, last thing, hedge against creative loss. So protect your most important asset and just do more variations of what's working already. All right, if you want more scaling insights, this is a QR code to my LinkedIn, where you can just, where I share scaling tips almost every day. I do threads where we break down scalings, which you do for clients, for example, or where I show how I would scale, ads for certain brands. And Mastermind Special, free 30-minute scaling session where we actually set up scaling campaigns. So if anyone is interested, you can just let me know, or scan this code here. And we can hop on a call, and you show me your ads manager. We go straight into the ads manager. You show me your winning creatives, and then we set up the campaigns exactly as we would set them up, to just test different campaign setups and see, and hopefully that you can scale even more. All right. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.